Crash course on history of the Russian Empire and why Ukraine war again. The Russian Empire was a state that existed from 1721 to 1917. It was formed under the rule of Peter the Great, who modernized and westernized the country. During its height, the Russian Empire spanned 3 continents and was one of the largest empires in world history. The empire was ruled by a monarch, who had absolute power over the country. The early years of the Russian Empire were marked by conflicts with neighboring states, including Sweden and Poland. The empire was able to expand its territory through these conflicts, and by the end of the 18th century, it had become a major European power. During the 19th century, the empire continued to expand, acquiring territory in Central Asia and the Caucasus. The Russian Empire was home to a diverse population of people, including ethnic Russians, Ukrainians, Belarusians, Tatars, and others. This diversity led to tensions within the empire, as different groups competed for power and resources. The empire also struggled with modernization and industrialization, lagging behind other European powers in these areas. In 1917, the Russian Revolution overthrew the monarchy and established a communist government led by Vladimir Lenin. This led to the formation of the Soviet Union, which lasted until its collapse in 1991. Why Ukraine war again? The current conflict in Ukraine began in 2014, when Russia annexed Crimea, a Ukrainian territory. This move was met with international condemnation and led to economic sanctions against Russia. The conflict escalated when pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine declared independence from Ukraine and began fighting Ukrainian government forces. The conflict has since claimed the lives of over 13,000 people and displaced millions. The reasons behind the conflict are complex and multifaceted. One of the main reasons is the historical and cultural ties between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine was part of the Russian Empire for centuries and has close linguistic and cultural ties to Russia. Many Ukrainians also identify as ethnic Russians. Another factor is Ukraine's desire to move closer to the West and away from Russia. This desire was reflected in the 2014 revolution, which overthrew a pro-Russian government and installed a pro-Western one. Russia sees this as a threat to its influence in the region and has responded by supporting separatist movements in eastern Ukraine. The conflict has also been fueled by propaganda and disinformation campaigns, with both sides accusing the other of spreading false information and manipulating public opinion. Despite several attempts at ceasefire agreements, the conflict in Ukraine continues to simmer, with occasional flare-ups of violence. The international community has called for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, but a lasting solution has yet to be found. Interesting stories or examples. One interesting story from the history of the Russian Empire is the story of Grigory Potemkin. Potemkin was a favorite of Catherine the Great and was put in charge of the annexed territories in the south of Russia. He was tasked with building towns and fortresses to defend the empire's borders. Potemkin was known for his grandiose schemes and elaborate deceptions. He would set up fake villages and towns along the route of Catherine the Great's travels to impress her with the progress of his projects. These fake towns became known as Potemkin villages, and the term is still used today to describe a facade or illusion designed to deceive people. Another interesting story is the story of Rasputin, a mystic and advisor to the last Tsar of Russia, Nicholas II. Rasputin was known for his unconventional behavior and was rumored to have mystical powers. He became a powerful figure in the Russian court, with many believing that he had a significant influence over the Tsar and his decisions. Rasputin's influence became a source of controversy, with many in the Russian government and society viewing him as a dangerous and corrupt figure. In 1916, a group of nobles conspired to assassinate Rasputin, fearing that his influence would lead to the downfall of the monarchy. The plot to kill Rasputin was elaborate, involving poison, bullets, and drowning. Despite being shot multiple times and poisoned with cyanide, Rasputin survived and attempted to flee the scene. He was then thrown into a freezing river, where he ultimately drowned. The assassination of Rasputin did not save the Russian monarchy, which fell to the Bolsheviks a year later. However, the story of Rasputin has become a legend, with many retellings and interpretations in popular culture. In modern times, one example of the impact of the Ukraine conflict is the story of Oksana and Alexander Banderov. The couple lived in the city of Donetsk in eastern Ukraine, which has been a center of fighting between Ukrainian government forces and pro-Russian separatists. In 2014, the couple's home was destroyed by shelling, forcing them to flee with their 3 children. They eventually made their way to Kyiv, where they started a new life. However, the trauma of their experience has stayed with them, and they continue to worry about the safety of their friends and family in Donetsk. Their story highlights the human cost of the Ukraine conflict, with many families forced to leave their homes and communities due to the violence and instability. In conclusion, the history of the Russian Empire is a complex and fascinating topic, with many stories and examples that highlight its strengths and weaknesses. The current conflict in Ukraine is a reflection of the complicated relationships and tensions between Russia and Ukraine, as well as the influence of propaganda and disinformation campaigns. It is important to remember the human cost of the conflict and to work towards a peaceful resolution. Here is poem on the Russian Empire. In lands of snow and endless skies, a mighty empire did arise, with Peter the Great to lead the way, and westernize the Russian way. From Europe's borders to Asia's lands, the empire grew with conquering hands, with armies strong and rulers bold. Their power and might was soon foretold. In St. Petersburg, the Winter Palace, the Tsars ruled with an iron grace, their riches and splendor unmatched, their influence and power never latched. But with diversity came division, as people vied for power and position. And while the empire rose to fame, its weaknesses soon became its shame. From Rasputin's mystical ways to Potemkin's deceptions in his plays, the Russian Empire was a story of grandeur, glory, and ultimate glory. Yet as the winds of change did blow, the Tsarist rule began to go, and with the revolution came the fall of an empire that once stood tall. But though its legacy may be gone, the Russian Empire still lives on, in tales of splendor and might untold, in memories that never grow old. Start planning your next global adventure with ease and convenience with our Booking.com referral link. https://www.booking.com/index.html $aid = 7989335 as a great choice to plan your next trip. You can find and book flights, hotels, cars, and local attractions all in one place, and their price match guarantee ensures you're getting the best deal. Thank you for kind support our AnHub Metaverse channel, and please watch more interesting videos here.